Welcome to the third and last part of this beginning series of tutorials on using Foamcore for your box inserts. In the last video we made this lovely basic piece, and now we're going to talk about designing the interior pieces. As I said before, you've got lovely 3D plans on my website at www.orderofgamers.com that you can use, but this is how I design my inserts. And I basically make it up as I go along. The first thing I do is arrange the components in the box the way they'll be in the end. So I've put all the pieces here in a layout which looks relatively neat. Usually I have separate spaces for all the different counters and everything, but this is just an expansion box, so I'm keeping it relatively simple. The old question is, of course, with expansions, just going off an attack, do you keep the expansion box or do you put all the pieces in the original game box? Well, I used to try and squeeze them all into the original game box, but these days I keep everything separate in the expansions, so I know whether I'm playing the base game or the base game with whatever expansions I want to play. So in this case I've got a nice little arrangement here, so I can see roughly that I'm going to need a divider along here, a divider here and a divider there, and that'll really be enough for this box insert. So I know that the height of the walls in my insert is 40 millimeters, so I'll cut some 40 millimeter strips. Measuring 40 is there. There. Carefully cutting those strips. Now, I know a few people have mentioned that it's difficult to cut straight lines and they have problems with Foamcore bunching up. So just make sure you've got a sharp knife and break off the blade so you've got a sharp one relatively frequently. And you don't have to cut all this in one go. You can just do a shallow cut which breaks through the cardboard, and then another cut all the way to the bottom. And with a sharp knife, holding the metal ruler down firmly, you'll have no problems getting a nice clean cut. As I said before, make sure you go right in from the top straight down so you get a clean 90-degree angle. So once I've cut one piece, as I said, I can use that for a template, line it up to the edge, push my ruler against it, hold the ruler firmly down, and cut another piece. Now, going back to my box with its components already in it, I want a piece going across here, so I'll just measure that on the inside of the box. Holding that there, make a couple of notches where it reaches the end. Cut that. As you can see, I'm just designing it on the fly. So this piece will fit like so. So what I usually do is attach this piece, glue it in, and then I'll make the other pieces and measure them off as I go, piece by piece. It's that easy. Now it's very important to remember when you're gluing things in with components still in the box, as you don't want any excess glue squirting out and damaging your components. So be careful that you don't have too much glue on and don't go right up against the components. Allow some room for the glue to squirt out. And in fact, once you've got it in place, I'd take the components out so there's no danger of them getting stuck in the box, which would not be good. Look down from the top so you know that you've got it in at 90 degrees, and then put in those pins to keep it stable while it dries. You can use a finger or the edge of a blade to clean off any excess glue that squirts out. Now I'm making the piece that goes across here. So again, measure it up, keeping things as perpendicular as possible. Another thing to very much keep in mind is make sure you have room for a finger to get in and take the components out. There's nothing worse than it fitting snugly in the space and not being able to get it out of the box. So in this case, I'm going up close to the area for the miniatures and I'm allowing plenty of space to get my finger in and take those pieces out. Now it may be that you have a very snug fit for your cards and you don't have room to get a finger in to take them out, or you don't want them shaking around as much. In which case you can get a piece like this and cut one piece and one piece with a space between them to put your finger. So here's my piece that will go across here, and what I'll do is cut an angle, just roughly like so, to get a piece like that. And then I'll match it up and cut another piece. In this case I'm just carefully using the Foamcore as a guide, just to draw a line and then cutting it out. So I have two pieces like this, and they will go in like so. And that gives me, it keeps the cards in place and gives me room to get a finger in here to get the cards out. This is a very handy little technique. So I'll just put in this last piece here. I'm just allowing a bit of space so I can get my finger in there. Squeezing that down, making sure the glue doesn't go on the components. And there we have it. I can put those in there, put the cards in there, and then cut a piece from this to go over the top. Actually, I'll take it out of the base and just measure that. Using that as a rough guide, put in some notches, and this just acts as a kind of lid. There's the lid. There are the rules. There's your box. Done! Here's a look at one of the inserts I've already provided plans for on the Esoteric Order of Games website. It's for Descent 2nd edition. This is the top counter tray. Then below that we have space for the miniatures. This piece comes out, and that's where you keep the tiles. And it keeps everything neat. Now obviously I store my games flat, so if I threw this around in a bag it would all fall out, but I keep them flat, and if I do transport them anywhere I make sure I keep them horizontal. So that's it for this series of basic tips on how to use Foamcore. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And look out for more videos from the Esoteric Order of Gamers.